Hello, my sexy and beautiful people of the internet. My name is Diego, also known as Chilean Retrogamer, and welcome to the All Laptop Chronicles here on Naked Gaming, playing some Double Dragon for the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive. So yeah, for those who don't know, the All Laptop Chronicles is essentially me doing recordings from my older laptop that I started to use more often because the newer laptop was having some issues. So every time that laptop is having some problems, I use this one for recordings. So expect a little bit of material from both laptops. So Double Dragon for the Sega Genesis. Actually, I don't think this came out in America. Well, I would say in this part of the world, but I'm sure this did come out in Japan. So I want this for punch, A for punch. All right. Trust me, this amount of lives and credits will be pretty much enough to beat the game. I was testing it out last night, and I managed to beat the game with half of the credits, pretty much. So yeah, this pretty much looks like the arcade. Maybe the arcade looks a little better. Of course, the music is so Sega Genesis-like. But as opposed to the arcade version, this actually runs smooth and fast. The arcade actually got better graphics than the NES version, for example, but the slowdown was infuriating, to say the least. One of the biggest problems, if not the biggest problem, of that version. And then NES actually improved it, made a couple of changes in the levels, and it changed the graphics and hit detection. This one again, it's more similar to the arcade one. It is pretty much based on the arcade one. It has the same amount of levels. But as you can see, it's super smooth, super fast. It doesn't have these slowdown issues that the arcade version was infamous for. Okay, I guess I'm picking up some of these weapons. Actually, using weapons here is very reliable for the most part. The one thing that annoys me out of this game in general, and I guess that would be extensive to all Double Dragon games, is that when enemies, like, all the time get behind you. So you usually have an enemy in front and behind you. So more than likely you're gonna get hit there. Yeah, I remember in the arcade version actually when you had more than one enemy on the screen, it got super slow. I can use this canister a couple times. I mean more than a couple times, but it disappears after a few throws. So yeah, I'm taking a little break from the Raiden series that I'm doing as the main feature for the special. The special series I'm doing. I already did at least all the arcade games that I planned on doing. The next game in this series should be Raiden 3, but I think I mentioned at the end of Raiden DX that I wanted to take a little bit of a break from that, at least for a couple weeks, and play different things here for you guys on Naked Gaming. You should know that I do a lot of things on my different YouTube channels, but I definitely want to treat the Naked Gaming projects as different ones. Ideally doing different games. I would like to try. Oh, look at this. It has the climbing mechanics too. I would like to try the NES version to this. I mean, I have played it before. But I don't know. I mean, if I feel like playing Double Dragon, I usually go for the arcade one. And then that's when pretty much I realized that it was really very not worth playing because of these major slowdown issues. So, I mean, if I am to recommend one version, it's either this or the Game Boy Advance one, which is a remake. Also, mostly based on the arcade game. I think it was called Double Dragon Advance, as a matter of fact. Nothing too original in terms of name either. But it was pretty much based on the arcade game. So yeah, it's either that version or this one. I think for Double Dragon 2, definitely NES is probably the superior version. Not necessarily the one that everybody remembers. I mean, not the best because of that. But I mean, objectively, or trying to be objective about it, I think the NES is the most balanced one. Even though Sega Genesis did release the 3 Double Dragon games, again, probably the Mega Drive in Japan did that. And they were improvements out of the arcade version, which in theory, well, it does look better than the NES counterparts for obvious reasons. Dedicated hardware versus 8-bit console. But the playability was much better on the NES, that's pretty much what I'm getting at. But honestly, the Sega Genesis versions here are pretty decent. I mean, I remember that I played a little bit of the 3 back in the day. I didn't remember these were actually better than the arcade. Yeah, I actually defeated the boss, so if there is any minor enemy remaining, he will go away. Alright, stage 3, mission 3. Out of 4 or 5. I think it has 4 missions. Of course, the later ones are much longer. So yeah, as you can tell, it offers a challenge. But it's not really that annoying to the point of losing credits and lives like crazy. I think so far I have lost like 2 lives or 3 lives. Still within my first credit. Which for Double Dragon is pretty good. And that's why actually I like this version a lot. Because it's pretty generous with lives and credits. I mean, on the arcade you can just credit feed and you win. I was trying to see on eBay how much this game was for the Mega Drive. And it's kind of pricey. I mean, I like the drum and everything, but I trust the bat a lot. Oh yeah, the elbow attack, which I remember was like the supreme technique in the NES game. I don't know how to perform that, to be honest. So that's why you watch me do the typical way of attacking that every noob at this game does, which is punch and kick. Any of the people that, I mean, none of the people that I actually see that are very good at this game or this series use punch or kick at all. Okay, I don't think I can get the bat anymore. Yeah, the scrolling here is a little bit, I don't know, weird. As you can see, you have to go all the way to the right in order to make the camera scroll, which is a little bit uncomfortable. Especially since there are a couple of later platforming sections. I'm not a fan of getting an enemy right behind me and another one in front, but again, this game will do all the time the same thing, especially towards the end of it. I believe on the NES games, the kick got better priority than punching. In this game, or these versions at least, it's the other way around. Usually punching gets a better range and better priority than kicking. So yeah, these guys are supposedly like the most basic type of enemy, but they got shit ton of health. Oh yeah, there's a headbutt attack by pressing forward twice. Interesting. And above into the water. So yeah, in those platforming sections, it's a little bit... Hey! Are you falling into the water? Alright. It's Jesus now. Problem is that they won't let me pass. Oh, I want to use the knife on a bubble. Yeah, attacking with a kick is not consistent. He won't make the jump. Yeah, I won't be able to pass if I don't kill this guy. At least I can still punch him from a distance. Should have fallen into the water anyway. I will eventually get him. I mean, I'm not surprised that a bubble has a shit ton of health anyway. Is it me or it's actually like broken? No, alright. It just had a lot of health. So I'm about to lose my first credit, which is okay for pretty much... I mean, I am more than halfway through the game. So you will notice this will be a very short playthrough. I will make it at 2 parts anyway. I mean, it's the only thing that I'm doing on Naked Gaming this week anyway. Maybe I'll do another playthrough and then gonna go back to the series, Raiden series special. Okay, couldn't throw you into the hole, that would have been interesting. Even though I already killed a couple of enemies like that. Get fucked! Okay, I'm not getting the punch priorities much anymore. I guess because the enemies are actually getting harder. Not that way, you dirty people. I am probably the only one who actually thought that. I am the dirty one. So yeah, this guy again has a shit ton of health. Jump kicks, it's not something I do very often.